welcome back to Quantum Alchemists. This episode three,
They come in threes.
episode three, season two. We're breaking spells today. I'm here. I am Mr. Alchemistic, your host, but you can call me B. And I'm joined by my gracious co-host, Mr. Quantum himself, Alex Romero Vingian.
What's up?
How how are we
What's up,
feeling today?
everybody? Oh man, working through life, going through real life stuff, and figured we'd come on and talk about some stuff. They say they come in threes. So I am, now I'm able to talk about it. I'm dealing with my mom who's sick, and for a while there I couldn't really talk about it. It was kind of like against her wishes type deal. So I'm kind of taking care of her right now, and it's really rough, man. Um, but there's a lot of things that can be said about how we deal with this type of stuff. About how we deal with the information that and the emotions and stuff. There's a lot of things that went wrong in this story when it comes to like what happened, my mother and everything. Um, but I'm not gonna go and be like that dude, the guy who went and killed the CEO of United Healthcare and stuff. Like, is it, like that. Sometimes people want to do that stuff, but that doesn't solve anything. Really, it starts with processing the information, and uh, really knowing like that there's something greater at play here. No, I don't have all the answers. I don't pretend to. I always ask questions. I'm still asking the why. I'm still trying to figure out like why this had to happen, but I also know that I also know that there's certain things in certain parts of life um that you it's kind of like, if you want to call them, rites of passage, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
like enduring certain things in life kind of grants you certain rites of passage. You've got certain experience now that you can talk upon, and certain wisdom that is bestowed upon you that you know that allows for you to really come from a place of the heart and a really a true place of knowing. So so for that I am grateful. And I'm like, I've said before in previous commercials or even podcasts, like I've opened up a channel so that people, if they want to communicate, talk about stuff, like big bro type stuff, like, yes, I'm serious. We can talk about it because life is really tough. And it gets even tougher when, you know, loved ones, things happen in your life. And um, and so even during all that stuff, and that's my own personal stuff, and also dealing with everyday life stuff, having to go to work and take care of the bills and all that stuff, and then dealing with the political landscape. Like, how's how's the political landscape going to affect me in my life today? A lot of different things have been happening, from executive orders to confirmation hearings. And just thought we'd come on here today and chop it up. I miss my boy B. I haven't seen you in like a while. And I've been caught up in my 3D reality, and kind of like going through this experience kind of reminds you, like, man, how truly short, you know, time is relative in terms of life. The universe has existed for millions of years, and the planet for millions of or billions of years, and we're here for maybe 100 years. So like, in comparison, it's like we're really not here that long, and we have a really short amount of time to get so much done and so much accomplished and so much growth. And it really can only happen by engaging with people like yourself in the community that we're trying to grow through this channel. so far, if you're here, please do like, comment, and subscribe. Well, first like and subscribe for sure, and drop us a little note or something. Say that you're there. Like, let us know that you exist in the universe. I would love to engage more with the audience. Um, and yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, dude. Like definitely a different perspective on life. It's kind of been like you say a lot of times the layers upon things and layers of perspective have been peeled back in the veil in my life. And so I'm seeing things a little bit differently than I was before, just even a few weeks ago. So I appreciate you and your energy and your time and your involvement with trying to get this message out and trying to get people to help people, kind of like not lose their shit and stay on the right path and to know that they're not alone in their struggle, because you're struggling, I'm struggling, like we are going through different struggles. But we're here for each other at the end of the day. Still love you, brother, and very much like you said that you're there for me. I appreciate you, and the wounded healer is always going to be there for you, you know. And so when if you get anything, of course, brother, I got you. But Georgia and um, uh, as they say in those Senate hearings, that I yield back.
Well, brother, I like I said in the pre-talk, my heart goes out to you and the things you're going through. I've, experienced something very similar as we talked about with my aunt and her whole thing with cancer and losing her and seeing her digression or regression throughout the process, and then just dealing with the pharmaceutical company, the insurance company, the hospital basically
Mm,
kicking her out because they weren't sure that they
yeah,
were going to get their money because they weren't sure insurance was going to cover her end of life coverage. And
yeah.
it was just like the whole experience was very painful and very heartless on the side of the medical field. They just saw her as a bed, and
Extremely.
they saw her as a paycheck, right? And the doctors
Yeah.
were so concerned about opening that bed up for somebody else to stick in there, that they basically forced my cousin to take her home and have her pass away in the house, which he didn't really want. He didn't want her to die in the house, but he had to do it because they pretty much forced his hand. And there's just a lot of corruption, man. And then, this will bring me to the confirmation hearings of like RFK. There's a lot of stuff going on in the media about the RFK hearing. A lot of Democrats pulling off their mask and showing their demons, and the fact that they're shills for big pharma. And RFK really did a very admirable job at Under Attack. Some of the things he was talking about, he wants to improve American health. He wants to look into our chronic disease epidemic. He wants to look into these pharmaceutical companies and these food companies. And it's stuff that you really shouldn't argue about, right? Because it's very quantifiable that there's something wrong with our healthcare system. There's something wrong with our food. There's something wrong with the chronic disease that this country has, that we have a lot of very unhealthy people. And, his stat about COVID was very telling. We had 16% of the world's deaths. We have 4% of the world's population. We are one of the highest percentage of deaths in the world. And they asked why. And the only answer was, well, Americans are the sickest people in the world. Why is that? We're supposed to be this first world power. We're supposed to have the best of everything, right? Supposedly, that's what we're sold, this idea that America is the
Right.
best. So why is our
But
health
the
so
poorest
bad?
health.
And then he goes into like a lot of the food, like Fruit Loops, for example. They make it with all these dyes and all these additives, but in Europe they have like a fraction of the ingredients. McDonald's fries. He went down the list of all these different products that were sold to Americans are made differently here. And then you look at our health rate and how bad cancer is and how bad all the obesity is and diabetes, and it's pretty obvious to anybody with two eyes that are willing to look at the problem and not aren't ideologically captured, following these shills that are, because they are the right color politically. Though they're blue, so I'm gonna follow whatever they say. And RFK was a Democrat, right? The RFK was a Democrat. He came across the aisle for the Trump administration because he sees a problem. And this dude has litigated against these pharmaceutical companies, against these food companies like Monsanto with Roundup. I've been a very solid proponent for RFK. He's my favorite part of the Trump administration. He's my favorite choice for cabinet. I think the dude is solid up and down. He's had his problems in the past. Obviously, he had heroin addiction, but that to me that's a plus. He overcame one of the worst drug addictions out there, and he's still alive, and he's fighting for the American kids and the American people. And he's people point to, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist, which is always what they use to discredit people who are a threat. They'll always discredit you with these blanket statements and these blanket demonizations. And it was very obvious in his confirmation hearing. These senators, like Senator Warren, who is 100% shill, has taken millions of dollars from pharmaceutical companies. Bernie Sanders, another shill, taking millions of dollars from pharmaceutical companies. All these people that were coming at RFK were coming, it weren't letting him talk. They're talking over him when he's trying to answer. It was just it's such a shit show. And it's just shows, man, there's something wrong. There is corruption that is deep seated, the deep state. It is deep seated in Washington, and these people are propped up by these pharmaceutical companies, by these food companies that profit off of our death. And we've talked about this in the Jack Cruz episode, why they want you to die. Because the retirement is a Ponzi scheme.
Oh
They
yeah.
took all your money, they took your money from your paycheck, they put it in a retirement fund, and then they spent it all on their Ponzi schemes on funding Ukraine, and while Joe Biden is laundering his money, which is very obvious now that he pardoned his whole family, right? And there was whispers about Joe Biden and Ukraine before his presidential campaign, and then magically this convenient war pops up during his administration. They start funneling billions of dollars into Ukraine, and then now he pardons his whole family. So what do you think they were doing that whole administration? They were fucking laundering that money through Ukraine, and they all came out smelling like roses financially. It's just a corruption that is so disgusting and so blatantly obvious if you take a step back from the ideologies of, oh, I love Democrats, I'm a lefty, or oh, go Trump. It's like, fuck all that shit, man. I'm so tired of this stuff. I'm so tired of these distractions. Oh, Elon Musk and his Nazi salute. Get rid of these fucking distractions, because you know what that is? It's black magic. We're gonna break some spells today. All these distractions are black magic. They're trying to manipulate your energy so you don't put your finger on the fucking pulse and see. You need to open your eyes and see this corruption because it's right in front of your face. And the only reason you don't see it is because you don't want to. And it's time to fucking call it out. And people like RFK are going to do that. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I'm very passionate about this because, like, when are we going to stop this? If not now, then when? And it's not because I believe in Trump or I believe in this or that or I'm a righty or a lefty or a fucking what. It's all fucking bullshit. That's all ideological subversion. It's trying to get you separated. We need to point the devil in the face and
Divide and
say, look,
conquer.
that's the devil. What's happening in this country is the devil. It's the shadow. And it's time. The light needs to shine on this stuff. And I applaud people like RFK Jr. because that dude's putting himself in harm's way. He is putting himself on the front line, not just from verbal attacks by these senators, but he is under a real threat physically from these pharmaceutical companies and these fucking food companies that will hire hitmen to kill him. That the CIA or these black ops agencies are going to have him as a target. He's going to be targeted. If he makes it through this administration, I will be very surprised if he gets confirmed in this seat at head of HHS and he makes it through alive. I will be surprised because he is coming after these fucking people, and it's about time because we've been sick and hurting medically for too long, and it's this corruption needs to stop if we ever want to change anything in this country. So
Yeah,
anyway, rant over on that.
you're right.
But people suffer, dude. Like your mom is
So,
suffering right now because of this shit. My aunt suffered and died. My dad died at 62 when he shouldn't have. Like this shouldn't be happening in the greatest country in the world. This should not be happening. Um, we shouldn't have such a horrible rate of health here. And
and meanwhile, have you have you at all gotten See, I get random, like, I don't know, random, not random, but stuff added to my feed, and now I'm getting these uh feed downloads where they're talking about the med beds they're like on the brink of being released, and I'm like, okay,
The med beds.
these med beds are supposedly the technology. Yeah, they're med beds. Are supposedly some like quantum healing beds that can, like, think of like Elysium, if you've ever seen Elysium.
Hmm.
They're like these beds that, like, you can lay in, and supposedly, like, they will bring you back to full restored health, and like they'll cure you of any diseases and stuff like that. But the technology supposedly is like, they say that it's, being tweaked and refined. I truly believe that the technology already exists. I think that they're just waiting for specific time and date to release it. Like, a lot of the stuff, I go back, like, I spoke with a lady, Miss Brenda. A shout out to you, if you see this. She worked at the Pentagon for like 35 years. And she told me, she's like, all this technology, this blockchain and AI stuff. She goes, what, you think that this is all new? She's like, they've had this shit since like the 70s. They've known about all this stuff. Like, they just haven't really commercialized it for the public use, but they've had this technology for a long time. So, why now? Like, I don't know. I mean, whoops. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the reason. I know that everything has timing. Obviously, divine timing has a lot to play with it. We often talk on this channel about energies and about planets and about alignments and stuff. You know, the powers that be, they don't uh they utilize these tools, which is a lot of the reason why we go over them. This is the esoteric uses, ancient mystical knowledge to operate, and that's what they do. So, I mean, if these people have, technologies 40, 50, 100 years more advanced than what we know, of course, they're going to know about the astrology of things and what the energies support and don't support. These people aren't stupid. They may look like it on TV or on screen, but these people don't be fooled. They're not stupid, you know. And there is most definitely a something at play here. What is it? I don't know. I'm hoping that B and I can unravel the mystery of, like, where it's all going. It's kind of why we're doing this channel too. So we can talk about all these things, so we could try and decipher the matrix for you, because that's what we're doing.
Well, I
We're
mean, that's part of the
we're
corruption. That's part of the corruption that is rampant, is the suppression of knowledge, the suppression of information. And we've talked about this so much, about keeping people at a lower level, lower vibration. And I'll bring my board game
new and improved,
prototype here.
new and improved.
Kundalini the game. I made a wooden prototype that folds out. Upside down. So just back this up a little bit.
It
Get
looks like
that thing in.
Jumanji. It looks like
What's that?
Jumanji.
Dude,
Looks
that's
like
what everybody's
Jumanji.
been saying. I kind of modeled it after Jumanji, to be honest with you, with the wooden box and
I
folding
love it.
out. And so the three
I love
lower
it.
chakras, right? This is the lower consciousness of man. This is the it represents the flesh, if you will, from the Bible. It's lower vibration consciousness. It keeps you in your base desires. Uh, Eat, sleep, and fuck. You never aspire to higher consciousness. You just stay down here and look at the path of the tree of life. It cycles you over and over down here, and that's part of the okey doke, is to keep people in this lower vibration state, in this degraded state. You never activate your DNA, you never activate your third eye and really connect to God. You're stuck in these ideologies that tell you you're a sinner and you're irredeemable, and it keeps you in this lower vibration of consciousness, and it perpetuates these cycles of degradation. And then you have these full on assault of bad chemicals in your food, and you get fat and you don't work out, and then you get into low self-esteem, and it's just depression, depression, depression. And then we got these shiny things in politics, that bring you down and it gets you depressed, you know. And I was telling you in the pre-talk about my friend who keeps sending me these anti-Trump things. Oh, and then the Elon Musk Nazi salute. That's fucking black magic, you guys. Like that's where I want to talk a little bit about Elon, because I don't really trust the guy. You know, I know that he's done a lot of good as far as technology is concerned, but there's also just certain things about him that just strike me as weird. And that whole salute thing, people want to say, oh, it's not a Nazi salute. And, you know, by technical definition, it really wasn't. But it was close enough to get people to be like, oh, look. And, you know, they've been dangling this Trump is a Nazi carrot for 8 years now, right?
I
And
mean, look, let's be honest. He could fart in the wrong direction and someone's gonna talk shit. Like, I
yeah,
don't want,
but I
it's too easy.
why I say it's black magic is because that's willful manipulation of energy. He knew what he was doing. He knew it was going to be perceived that way, and he knew that people were going to lose their shit and start talking about him, and all this attention was going to go to him. That's willful manipulation of energy. That's black magic. You know, the news lying to you and manipulating you with these little things like the RFK stuff. These Democrats come in at RFK with lies and verifiable things that he's debunked in the past and bringing it up in a public forum, and then the news taking snippets out to make RFK look bad and then showing it to you. Oh, look at how dumb this guy is, or this and that. Or oh, look, he's a conspiracy theorist. That's black magic. That's misrepresentation of energy. That's manipulating you with lies to get you to believe a certain thing. That's black magic. Like I'm trying to dispel the spells here. Like we
I
are
hear you.
rife and bombarded and spellbound by this stuff. And it's high time people call it for what it is. And people don't believe in magic, like, oh, it's preposterous. No, this is how black magic works. It's not just fucking making spells and sigils and lighting fires and summoning demons. Like
Burning candles.
it's willful manipulation of energy, and both sides do it. People in the public eye, this is the entire illusion that's put before you on television is black magic. And it's like it's time to break through that. It's time to break through this and really point it out for what it is, because this is why so many people are down, right? And I did a video on my Instagram the other day talking about this, the depression. People that are on the left are in this state of depression, right? And it keeps they keep looking at these, like my friend who keeps sending me these anti-Trump things. This person is sitting all day probably scrolling on social media finding these things that brings him lower and lower and lower, and
Hate
reinforces
scrolling.
his own
Hate
depression.
scrolling.
And this distracts you from finding that energy within yourself to improve your own life, because you've given your power away. We've talked about this in all these political episodes. You're giving your power away to an entity, whether it be, oh, Trump is going to be a Nazi and he's going to be a fascist and he's going to be a dictator. And you're giving your power away to him. Like he has no power over you. And this is something I told another friend of mine who was talking about the same kind of shit. I told him, I was like, look, dude, you got to stand alone. Like he's like pandering to the left, right? With his some post about Trump or like deporting people. Or I was like, dude, look, like you're just pandering to a group because you want to belong. I was like, you want to try find your
Accurate.
true power. You want to find your true power. Stand alone. Don't give your power to any side. You find yourself on your own. That's what I've done, and it powered me to the X degree, you know, to where it's like I don't look at the I see through these illusions. I see through it. I see through the matrix. It's so obvious now to me. It's like Neo with the green numbers, right? Like it's so obvious. I can call out black magic and people will say, "Oh, you're crazy." Well, that's not magic, because you have a misconception of what magic is. And that's why you're spellbound, and that's why you're stuck, and that's why your energy gets dragged down by bullshit that doesn't matter. I guarantee you, these people who are all depressed about Trump, their life is no different than it was before he was inaugurated. If they really looked at their life, your life is no different now that Trump is in office. But because you see, you grab on, you give your energy away, and you give your power away to these things that drag you down. You think that you're in this state of oppression. Oppression is a fucking illusion. I'm sorry to tell you guys. Nobody can oppress you unless you give them the power to. And that is
Right.
100% true. There is no such thing as oppression. Nobody is oppressed. You are a powerful being that is made in the image of the creator that has infinite potential. And the only thing that can oppress you is you giving that power to somebody else to do it. And that's
Yeah.
100% true. And like, look at all these people who are supposedly oppressed, who have come out of oppressive situations and made something of themselves. That's because they didn't fall for the okie doke. They believed there was something inside of them that was special and that they could get out of those situations, and they have. There's countless examples of people who have done it. So I'm sorry if you think you're oppressed and you think you're a victim, you're not. You're just a victim of fucking black magic that has stolen your power and stolen your perception to make you think that you're oppressed. But you are
Yeah.
a powerful being that is made in the image of God, and you have God inside of you, and you have to find that within you and stop giving your power away to groups. Stop trying to fit in with fucking ideologies. Stop trying to fit in with the Joneses. Find the strength within you, and you will not be oppressed. You will find your power, and you will realize, holy shit, I had it in me all along. I can't put it
I
any
like that.
simpler than that.
I
Oppression
like
is
that
an
a
illusion.
lot. I like that a lot, which is perspectives, because that was a theme that's been reoccurring a lot, at least over the last 24 to 48 hours. The term perspective has been brought up a lot, and I think it's very important to take the higher road in perspective as we perceive things that happen to us, especially nowadays, right? And I think that's kind of what you're trying to allude to there, B, is, we have we have the choice to see many sides of the same coin, but how we choose to embrace how that information affects you is your will, and you have the ability to alter that in any way, shape, or form. So yes, it's like, in a way, it's like saying you could be getting the beating of a lifetime, and at the same time you could be choosing to love every second of it. And it would make every sense if you were trying to come at it from the right perspective, right? Because there's a lot that had to happen for you to get to that point. It's just a matter for you to understand, why am I here getting beat inches within my life? And when you learn that lesson, when you figure out the why you're there in that moment, the idea is that that knowledge should allow for you to never get there again. And that is why you should love every second of it.
Well,
So,
every obstacle is an opportunity to get more powerful. Every obstacle is an opportunity to find that power to overcome. You're not given anything you can't handle. And I had a conversation with my friend the other day. We're almost out of time on the first part, so we'll
cool.
wrap it up after this. But like, he said, you already won a race to even make it to this planet as a sperm, right? There's billions of sperm that your father put into your
Right,
mother. You won the race and you became a
right.
human being and you came into consciousness. That's a miracle. Every single person that is alive has won that race. Every single person that is alive that overcame those odds of billion to one, and you became a person. Like, people don't take those things into account, and that's why
Yeah,
you're special. Every single person, there's this, oh, the nobody's special. No, everybody is. That's
right.
the
Literally.
magic of this place. The magic of this place is that everybody is special. Everybody has a purpose, whether you want to believe it or not. I don't care. That's the unvarnished truth. Like, everybody is special. Everybody is here for a reason, and it's to evolve
Right.
consciousness. And every obstacle you face is to make
Ooh.
you stronger into a better version of you. And it's painful, man. Life is fucking painful. It is sometimes it's insufferable. I've been through
I'm
things. I've been through things in my life that would have killed most people, and that's not to make me out to be big greater than anybody, but like, I've overcome, you've overcome, you're going through something now that's really hard to overcome. Your mother is very sick, and it's not easy, but it's like, these are our opportunities to grow, these are our opportunities to overcome, and
you
and like, see how strong you really are, and that's a fucking blessing in itself.
know
And
what? And I'm glad you brought that up. When we come back, I want to talk about the difference between artificial intelligence and divine intelligence.
sounds good, man. We'll wrap up this first part. We'll be back with part two.
Let me ask you, Did you get a chance to mine for Bitcoin like me and regret not doing it today? Yeah, that was me. I had a chance to mine Bitcoin, but I didn't do it. How about Ethereum? Did you have a chance to mine for Ethereum and didn't do that? Regret it today, like me? Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Have you heard of X1, Zenium, XNM, the new ecosystem that's about to go live using the Solana virtual machine? No? Remember of a time when you didn't hear about Bitcoin either, but here we are today and Bitcoin is over $100,000? Well, here I am telling you today about Zenium, XNM, X1, which is about to go live, and if you don't know how to mine for it, it's okay, because I figured it out. So just go to the website, plank.fyi, planck.fyi, and get some credits, and I will mine it for you and send it to your wallet address. No biggie. Alright, so don't just sit there on the sidelines like you did the last 2 times or 3 times. Get on that computer, go get some credits, and I'll take care of it for you, okay guys? Don't forget, X1 is the future. Bitcoin was, you'd think that Bitcoin is the future, but it's not. Bitcoin was something that led us to what comes after that. It's not Ethereum, it's not Solana. Just watch. Remember I told you, okay? See you.
And we are back for part 2 of this episode 3 of Quantum Alchemists, season 2. Changed shirts, as you can see. I'm wearing the Devil's Head. The last shirt was Gorillas in the Alchemist. And you can find both shirts at alchemisticapparel.com. The link is down in the description. If you guys want to check out these shirts of mine, we are holding the Devil's Head in our hands. So we want to talk about Alex before the break was talking about divine intelligence versus artificial intelligence. And as I've been doing these little quotes that I find every episode, I have a really good one that is pretty relevant. And another one, I've been finding a lot of really good Manly P. Hall quotes, and this one is no different. So let's kick off this part 2 with some divine intelligence. Starts. Beginning with thoughtfulness, you must preserve a continuity of effort, which will lead you ultimately beyond the world of thought and into the sphere of union with the mystical principles of life. Bear in mind always the necessity for balancing and rationalizing each step of the way so that nothing impractical or unreasonable shall deflect the consciousness from its noble purpose. Be mystically thoughtful and thoughtfully mystical. Combine a gentle appreciation with the courage of continuous action. Permit nothing to move you from the foundations which you are building, yet withal retain as much as possible of gentle human contact. Realize that wisdom brings you closer to the heart of things and sets up no artificial barriers against the free circulation of human relationships. Do not spend too great an amount of time attempting to visualize some nirvanic state at the end of effort. Do not dream of release as freedom desired because it is the end of striving and trying. Remember that the means and the end are one. We shall never find peace apart from the quest for peace. Beyond us lie endless vistas of progress. The whole cosmos waits to be accomplished. Man's growing understanding and his unfolding consciousness go on in their ageless search for union with the immense principle which sustains all the mysteries of the world. As Manly P. Hall from Self-Unfoldment by Disciplines of Realization.
That
So to
was
sum that
beautiful.
up, Manly P. Hall is basically saying it's in the journey. The destination is the journey. If we're constantly striving for this pot of gold at the end of the rainbow and grabbing and chasing and chasing and chasing, we miss the point. Point is the
Right.
unfoldment of self. The whole point is the journey, which is kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning, is all these challenges and obstacles that are forging you into a stronger person, and not to get bogged down by these challenges and the depression and the pain, because that is ultimately what this whole purpose of this journey is to overcome obstacles, to enjoy the journey, to enjoy your cup of coffee in the morning and the
Right.
sunrise and the little things. It's the journey that brings the fulfillment.
Right.
It's not some kind of end goal enlightenment that we're constantly striving to attain. If we're trying to attain that, it will never come. You have to come to the moment and realize that the moment is the enlightenment, right? It's not the striving for a future better version of you. You're already perfect as you are. If you just acknowledge your selfness, you
Right.
acknowledge your journey, you acknowledge
Right.
your
Your,
shortcoming,
your shadow.
you acknowledge the shadow, and this is where we miss it. This is the whole point is missed in this constant striving. And Rumi had a great quote that is like, um, what was it? It was about there are two types of people who will never be satisfied. The lover of pleasure and the lover of knowledge. I believe that's summing up the quote. But like you will never be satisfied with pleasure or knowledge because it's never ending. You're on a never ending quest. You will never fill the hole of pleasure. There'll never come to a point where like, all right, I've had enough pleasure. If
Right.
you're a seeker of pleasure, right? It's like you're always going to want more and more and more, and that's
Right.
why you see these really wealthy people getting into these
50
um,
Shades of Grey.
perversions, right? Like once you
Right.
have the power, all the power and money that you could ever have in a lifetime, now
Right.
you start going into perverted things because the regular things that you thought would bring you pleasure and fulfillment don't.
Don't
So
do it
you got to
anymore.
strive for something else that brings a little bit of something. And this is why, like the Diddy party, right? You hear about Diddy like fucking dudes in the ass and and like the power that he have a power over a man. It wasn't about him being homosexual. It was about him exerting his power over somebody. It's a perversion of the flesh.
Yeah.
It's like you're
It's
constant
like
once
it's
you a certain apex at the top of the pyramid, it's like now what else now it's what else you get to the top of the mountain and it's like what now, and this is something you hear from a lot of like really successful people is like you strive for something for so long, a goal, it's like something in mind, riches and fame and wealth, and then once you get it, it doesn't fulfill you because you're striving for something outside of yourself when it's the fulfillment comes here,
from
it comes
within.
within, right in the heart. So anyway, I digress. It's
No,
it's a
yeah. I
really
mean,
good.
it was a great quote. It was a great quote. Because really, I want to make the correlation between artificial intelligence and divine intelligence, right? Because artificial intelligence is trained by us taking action, but us taking action without the element of emotion, right? So the only thing AI, artificial intelligence, understands is it understands the decision. It doesn't understand the why. And the decision either was logical or illogical, and it was either the best course of action or it wasn't. So this is what AI is looking for, right? Divine intelligence, on the other hand, is looking for the experience of things, right? So like you're saying, us being connected to source and us being the you know experiencing consciousness. Like, yes, we are training consciousness through our experience, and we are each giving consciousness, divine consciousness, a different form of expression that it feels, so it is able to understand more how to relate to us and how to care for us as its people, because consciousness created us. We are the creator, right? So we are going through things here to learn and teach it as much as it is here to teach us about the why we're here to learn about these things. And in the very same respects, artificial intelligence is here to learn stuff too, created by man to teach it how to do all the things that we choose to do with our decision making. Again, going back to irrelevant of emotions or why we do things. It just knows that we do things and it's a task that needs to get done. You know, then you could teach things like, necessity, like things like, oh, like we humans eat because we need to eat. then again that's more of a need function as opposed to like I eat because I'm emotionally attached to how this food tastes and it makes me feel so good when I eat this amazing ice cream, right? Like there's a lot of other things like now, but we're we're, we're going into the semantics of it, but no, the point is like we do have to go through things and to experience things um to understand how we're all part of this one thing because that one thing that I'm going through, B's gone through, maybe not identically as me, but a similar thing, and he can empathize and sympathize, and and he's been there, and like, and other people that haven't been there yet, we're all going to be there at some point. We're all subjects of the circle of life, and we're all subjects um of our government. We're all subjects of our employer, we're all subjects of our environment because our environment ultimately is what shapes and molds us. And now you, you can become the anomaly in the environment, which becomes right. So when you become the anomaly in the environment, you become Neo in the Matrix, which is yes, you acknowledge all the things that are fucked up, all the things that are wrong, that are twisted, that are just bass backwards, okay? And you you go and you become more active in your community at a local level and you do something about it. And I don't mean like a go, I mean like go and do the politically correct thing with the due process and and like instead of watching the extra, few hours of like Game of Thrones or like, whatever other rerun of like, TV show you want to watch, like go engage with people, go talk to people about the things that you're truly passionate about and that you feel are not right, and find out who else feels like you. Because you're gonna find out that a lot more people than you know or than you think feel much like B and I do. Actually, I'm surprised. I'm becoming more and more mind blown at just how common it is nowadays to find people that are just completely fed up with the narrative, with the ideology, with all the media frenzy. Like we're just over it. And I think that we're getting to a great place, which is cool. We're all getting fed up just enough to like start vocalizing it, which is really good. It's a good place to be. But now we need to get active as townships. We need to engage at a local level, and we need to go to our, local town or local city and find a way to take back your city or you take back your county and unplug from the federal funds, and stop taking the federal money that makes you guys have to enforce tyrannical federal laws. I mean, this is the only way to do it. I mean, if you guys have your own chamber of commerce, rely on the chamber of commerce to put together a plan to save your city. Don't do it through federal funding. I mean, there's ways that you guys could plug in, but like again, all this takes stuff takes planning and things like that, which great. There are I'm not saying that I'm the person to do it. I can help. There's other peoples out there like me that are trying to do a lot of this stuff, but it takes a village, it takes a tribe. I'm only one person. Shit, B and I are two people. We're doing our damn hardest to like get the message out there. Like there are alternatives. There are things that we could do, but I've tried to engage a crap load of people, and I've gotten a shit ton of voicemails and unanswered emails. So either y'all are in on it or really get checking up on your messages. And I know I'm one of those people. Like I know I get messages all the time. I'm bombarded by a bunch of messages, and I don't know who's real and who's not. Like some people are trying to waste my time, take me out for a spin, just make sure that I get distracted by things, like dangling and stuff like that, which, by the way, if you're just another distraction agent in my life trying to, sway me from completing the mission, like you're doing a really crappy job. So just want to say that.
but
Um
but you
and
you're right though. Like this goes back to what we've been saying this whole podcast, this whole run that we've done so far is like there is a shift in consciousness. There's a shift in consciousness, and this we're trying to come into online with this stuff because we know there are people out there that need to hear what we have to say. We have relevant experience in life, and with these concepts and with these ideas, we have a treasure trove of knowledge and understanding to share with you, and we want to find commonality with people in our experiences in the things in our perception, right? Like it's about finding your tribe, finding your soul tribe, and vibrating at a level that attracts those people, because we're all starting the whole earth is shifting right now. The whole energetic blueprint of the planet is rising, and that's why you're seeing this, Alex. Like you aptly said, there's a lot of people who are fed up with the bullshit, because people are starting to see through the illusion. They're seeing that they've been lied to. They're seeing that it's all a show. They're seeing that and they're fed up with it. They're not going to take it anymore. So we're trying to take the step to put our voice out there to try to find like-minded people. Like, come to us, let's create a community, let's start making things happen, and not just talk about it but be about it. Stop talking about it, be about it. Like, find what you need to work on within yourself. That's the first step. The first step starts with you. Before you go to your community, before you try to find people, you need to raise your own vibration. You need to come into this place within your heart, within yourself, and you need to be real with yourself. And this is the hardest part for people, is to acknowledge their own shadow, right? You need to come face to face with your own shadow, your childhood
well,
wounds, you
they have to fill
patterns.
their own cups first. They have to
Yeah,
fill their
well,
own
you have
cups
to
first.
fix the cup, right? You can't fill other cups with a broken cup, because what's coming into your cup is dripping out. So you got to fix that broken cup. You got to fix it. You can't have a cup that's got one side missing, and you have to fill that cup, and fix it, and that's where it starts, and that's the work that Alex and I have been doing. We've gone through, isolation. This is what's going to happen, guys. Spiritual isolation is a real thing. If you're going through the process with source, with God, and you've come to the spiritual realization, you've had your kundalini awakening, or whatever you're going through, right? The spiritual journey starts with isolation, because you need to isolate from outside sources, from outside influences, your friends, your family, whatever, your job.
Even partners, no
Yeah.
partners, because that can also alter it.
I've come out to Georgia, and I've completely been isolated. Besides talking to Alex and a few other people, most of my friends have completely ghosted me. Like I don't really talk to hardly anybody anymore. And it was kind of a wake up call for me that, like, some of these people that I had in my life, the reason I came out to Georgia, the reason I was placed out here by Source, was because these people were not serving me. They were not serving me, and they would, and I'm on this elevating path where I'm going this way, right? I've talked to Alex about this before. We're going up, and there's all these players around us that aren't doing the work on themselves, that aren't trying to better themselves. They're trying to grab onto somebody like me or Alex, so we can drag them along, and that's not happening. Sorry, fellas and ladies, you're not coming on the journey if you don't do the work. And this is why we do
It,
this, right?
it
Is we're
doesn't, you know
trying
what,
to.
Leslie? Even if we wanted to, the truth of the matter is, like, we would love to bring you along, but Source won't allow it. Like,
No,
you're just not gonna make it.
it's part of the energy, right? The energy of success that we talked about, money and currency. Money is just energy, right? And the reason why so many people are stuck in this poor state, the state where they can't ever get ahead, is, like I said, with the board game, right? You're in this low vibrational frequency. You know, God's giving you. He's inside of you. He's not outside of you. He's not in a cloud. It's literally here. It's what all the scriptures and the mystic traditions are telling you: is God is here in your heart, is your temple. You are a temple of the living God. And if you aren't right with what's inside of you, you're getting messages all day long of what you need to do. You know. You got to be real with it. This comes to being real with yourself. You know what you have to do. You know
Mhm.
things you got to get rid of, the people who don't serve you, the addictions. I mean, I'm still stuck on this thing. I stopped cigarettes, but I'm on this thing. I know that at some point this is something that needs to go, right?
Yeah,
It's
bro.
we know.
You know how I feel about that. You know how I feel
I
about
know.
that vape.
I'm trying to cut down, but like,
By the way, for all you smokers, if you're gonna smoke, smoke cigarettes. At least they're time tested, okay? Vapes are not, okay? That's what actually is a great deal of what's taking my mother out. She's a big vapor. That propylene glycol bullshit, it's not good, brother. And I'm sorry,
no,
but
like
continue.
no, but
Yeah,
this is God's telling you every single day what you need to do. You need to work out. You need to eat better. You need to love yourself. You need to do this and this. You know, like be real with yourself. You know what you need to do,
yeah.
and it's a lot of this is just pushing away that voice. Oh, I don't want to listen to
Justifying
that.
justification.
I'm gonna go watch TV, and you know it's like your God's telling you write the next fucking great novel, and you're like, nah, I'm gonna go consume hours of television. I'm gonna scroll on fucking TikTok. I'm gonna do this and that. Like guys,
Everything everything but.
since I've come into this place in myself, you see this artwork all around me, right? The last year,
Yeah, bro.
I started painting last September, right? It's been a little over a year since I painted. I painted 30 paintings. I've created a full 78 card tarot deck with fucking all my own artwork, right? I created, sorry, dog, this board game, right? This board game I created. I've written two screenplays. I created countless content on social media. I'm not trying to put myself like, oh, I'm so great, but it's like this is what God's pushing me to do, right? Is create things. I just create
That's
things.
what it
I don't
takes.
and I
That's what it
used to be a
takes.
procrastinator. I used to procrastinate and put things off, and there'd be this little whispering in my ear, hey, do this, do that, and I'd push it off. I work out every day. I look like a freaking Greek god. Like I have fucking abs at 43 or 42. I look better than I ever have in my entire life. I used to be overweight. I almost died from a fucking um, digestive issue. Right? I almost died from a cocaine addiction in my 20s. Like I've been through the fucking ringer, and I've been there. I've been in that low state of degradation. I've chased women and fucked randos and gave away my energy to people that didn't deserve it. Like I've done it. That's why I'm telling you guys, it's in you. It's in you because I know that I was in that state. I can only speak from experience. I'm not trying to fucking speak down on you like, oh, I'm better than you. It's like I've been there and I've gotten out of it and you can too. And that's what I'm trying to tell you guys is like when you come to this place with God, where the true place of God, not going to church, throwing fucking water on your head and saying, oh, I'm born again and going to church once a week and then you go back to drinking and fucking and watching TV and not doing anything productive. I'm talking about actual
Right.
spiritual fucking awakening, like where you come and God fucking comes into
Yeah.
your body and like
Yeah.
literally changes you
And
from where
I want to add to that. I want to add to that because you know what? You know, people have this misconception that a healer is like a monk, you know, like really nice and passive and stuff and not like don't get it wrong, like you can still be a G, you know, a badass and be a healer and a spiritual counselor and a spiritual guidance for people and not be you know, basically a pushover and, you know, sissified and all that shit, you know what I'm talking about? Like people have this misconception that if you're on the spiritual, that you could be just treated any kind of way. Like I'm nice and all, but damn, like don't push me either.
no, dude, I have another
people
quote.
people don't have this people have this fail to realize like a lot of really nice people actually are really nice because they could be really fierce too, and they know that they don't like that person. So it's better to be nice than not. But when the claws have to come out, so do the fangs, type shit. And go for your quote.
Well, there's a common misconception about spirituality, like you said, that you're just like a monk or it's like you're just a walking like glowing white angel through everything, and it's like no, I've come to a place where I've integrated my shadow and like I know my worth, and I'm not going to be accepting this treatment. And this is another thing I accepted in the past was people treating me like I didn't know my own worth. People treated me like I was just a pushover or I could just get walked over because I was an empath and I was, you know, compassionate to people, and I wanted to help people and love people. And I've never really, I don't vibe with materialism or selfishness. I want everybody to do well. And when you're in that space as an empath, you attract narcissists left and right, because narcissists are
Oh
energy
yeah. Oh
vampires, and
yeah.
they see somebody that's giving their energy, and they latch on like a freaking viper, and they will suck you dry. And like that's one of the things you have to come to too, is healing those tendencies to overgive yourself and not know your own worth. Like these
Mm-hmm.
narcissists are low key are hiding all over the spiritual community. They're all over the place. And
Yeah. And
they'll put
they're
on this
hiding is
they'll
another
put
thing, man. They're like,
they'll put on this mask like they're some kind of, you know, angel, and they're really this, you know, it's just they're gonna suck you dry. um so here's the quote that I feel is relevant to what I'm talking about right now. um this is true spiritual awakening. This isn't being an ideological zealot and judging people and saying, "Oh, my way is the only way." It's this is like really like having an experience with God, and it's about reception, and that's what this quote is about. All life depends on reception, for everything is reception. All nature is reception, but we are created to receive far more than the vibrations of light from the sun. Now, if all that this one self in us does not include is gradually brought into consciousness, our reception is correspondingly increased. The one self that each person is clinging to at this moment, without quite realizing it, gives place to a wider self, which eventually becomes the self. The narrow, oversensitive bundle of pride, prejudice, vanity, illusions, and wrong attitudes which make up the one self disappears. The self emerges as a picture that has been restored by cleaning. The capacity of reception is then greatly increased. That is, much more influx from higher centers is received. But the former feeling of oneself is, of course, lost, for one is no longer the same artificial person that one clung to and suffered from as one's true self. Not only this, the previous oneself now has no power over you. That's Maurice Nicole,
sounds like
psychological commentaries on the teaching of Gurdjieff and Ospensky. Um, it's talking about the
sounds a lot
ego.
like the death and rebirth.
It's talking about the
Yeah.
ego, right? The one self is what we identify. Oh, I'm Brandon. I'm Alex. I'm a liberal. I'm a conservative. I love Trump. Like it's the one self is clinging on to identities, right? It's like ideological identities. Oh, I'm a Dodger fan. You know, sports. I'm a sports fan. I love this. I love that. It's we've talked about this before. Ideological boxes, right? Just keeping you inside a box. I'm a Christian. I'm a Muslim. I'm this. I'm that. Right? It's the identities of the ego, right, that we grab onto, that we're stuck into, and that's who we are. Oh, I'm a German. I'm Chinese. That's all bullshit. It's all man-made shit, right? The self, the God self within you, right? It's like you said, it's a death and rebirth. It is a full like I feel like I'm dead to my old self. Like all my old memories have been fading. Like I still can grab them, right? If I look into them deeply, but like the identity of who I used to be, the identity of what I used to do, how I used to move through the world is completely dead. Like I talked about this a couple episodes ago. I can't go back. There is no going back to that. I would die because I'm see I've come to this place of selfhood, of realization of God within me, where like I receive divine energy. And if I tried to go back to Brandon's old ways of snorting cocaine and fucking random women, it would kill me. I can't do that.
Yeah.
It's not an option anymore. And that's the
No.
change. That's the rebirth. That's being born again in Christ. Is is
Right.
coming to the Christhood within yourself, and taking the steps to be that person, to take up the cross, right? The cross, the
The
spiritual and
burden.
the material, the intersection of spiritual and material, right?
Mhm.
Taking up the cross and walking the path of Christ. That's the true way. That is the way, the mystic way. Like it's the white path. And it's a vibration. It is a frequency that you ascend to, that your body
Right,
starts to it's like a radio antenna, right? You start receiving
right,
the divine frequency. You
right.
can't go back.
It's
Nobody
so
puts
bizarre. It's so bizarre how you can do how it doesn't even resonating is not even the word. You like it just doesn't mesh with you. Like you're just like
it
almost like where
sounds
you're repelled by it.
it sounds like drinking poison. When I
Yeah.
think about the things I used to do, the way I used to think, the way I used to be, it sounds like poison to me. Like it sounds like I would rather this body just die than to be like I used to be, because I've come to this place of understanding and power, like personal power. I know my power, I know my worth, I know who I am, and I didn't know before. And I accepted things and treatments from other people and treatments from myself. I treated myself like garbage, and I accepted treatment from others like garbage. And I
Yep.
will never, ever do that again, ever. And anybody who tries to approach me and treat me like that again, you're getting the fucking Drake.
The
You're
the Heisman, you're getting the Heisman.
you're getting the Heisman. I'll put the Heisman. I'm gonna put the Heisman on this video. I'm gonna
Yeah,
put the Heisman on this video. You
the
will get the
Heisman.
fucking Heisman. Like
Yeah.
fuck off and get away from me. You get behind me, Satan. I'm gonna take your fucking head. Like no, absolutely not. Do you know who you're messing with? Do you know who you're talking to? You're talking to a divine being that knows his power. So you better fucking come straight and come right, because I will not accept it. Look at who you're talking to. Like, look at my eyes. You ain't fucking with a dope here. You ain't fucking with somebody that doesn't know who he is. You're fucking with a
Right.
very powerful human being, and like that, it's just plain and simple. And this is the place where we can all come to, right? If we were all vibing at this level, if we had an army of alchemists, even 1,000, 10,000 alchemists, we would change the world. And that's what we're trying to do here, right? Is like we
Right.
ultimately the goal is to change the world. That's what
Right.
God's put into our hearts. It's time to change the world. We're in the age of Aquarius now, and Christ. You read Christ's words. There is a prophecy that he put out there about the age of Aquarius, the man with the pitcher of water. People misinterpret it because they misinterpret the whole Bible, and the whole church has everyone convinced that
The
astrology is
water
evil.
bear. The water
Yes,
bear.
the church has everyone convinced that astrology is evil. Yet you look at the Bible; it's full of astrological symbolism, completely like stuffed full of it.
Hey, do as I say, not as I do.
Look at the teaching, the Bill Donahue. He's a guy you can find on TikTok. I think he's on Instagram. He from the 70s and 80s, and I think early 90s before he passed away. He broke down all the mystic symbolism in the Bible and the astrological symbolism. He breaks it down so, oh, it's great, man. It's beautiful. It literally is enlightening, the things that he talks about. He brings the scriptures to life. And there's a passage, I don't remember the exact passage, which book it was in. I believe it's in Matthew, but it's Christ talking about the man with the pitcher of water. He was pointing to this time because this is the rise of the Christ consciousness. This is the second coming, right? And he's not coming on a cloud. He's not coming on a white horse. He's not coming through a portal. He's coming in our hearts. Christ is coming alive in our hearts. That's the second coming. And that's what I'm being pushed to do. I know you have it in you as well, Alex. We're trying to get this understanding into you guys' knowledge, because you're already, so many of you, if you're watching this podcast, if you got this far into the podcast, you're on the cusp or you're in it with us. Like, this is what's happening in this world right now. This is the true apocalypse, right? It's not destruction. It's the lifting of the veil from consciousness. That's what
Not
apocalypse
division.
means. Apocalypse means the lifting of the veil. This is the revelation of the truth of Christ. Like, that's what's happening. And it's this is something that is in my heart, is to put this truth out there, right? It's because I've been given it for a
Well,
reason. I didn't
well,
just
well,
learn all
let's
this stuff for
clarify.
nothing.
Let's clarify all that because you know what? Now with the apocalypse, let's wrap this up with the whole executive orders thing. There's been
Well,
some stuff.
we only got 6 minutes left in this part. Let's go to a part three and talk about that stuff. Um,
Okay, all right, that's
don't want
fine.
to. I just don't want to get into it, and then we get cut off, and then we have to like split it up into
No,
two parts.
yeah, you're good. You're
So
good. Okay.
I think
Um,
let's just end this part here, and then we'll pick up with the executive orders and then finish it off.
yeah, because I'm running out of light, and that's why I wanted to like wrap it up.
Okay. Well, we'll be back with part three.
All right, see ya.
Here's the Heisman. Are you tired of energy vampires always trying to suck away your energy? Do you wish there was a better way than evil eyes, crystals, and spells to protect your energy? It's understandable. When you're a chosen one, there's no shortage of vampires trying to come in and steal your shine. And spell work and crystals can be exhausting. Well, you're in luck. Hi, I'm the Alchemistic, and I've developed a foolproof way to protect your energy from all types of energy vampires. Allow me to demonstrate. Are you ready, chosen one? I call this technique the Heisman. It's very simple to perform. Imagine this football is your energy. You just take that energy, tuck it away in your outside arm, and you give that energy vampire the Heisman. Not today, bitch. Now, this technique works for any type of energy vampire. Say you've got that friend who always likes to dump their problems on you. They're just a black fucking cloud of problems, and every time you give them advice, they don't fucking listen. Give that bitch the Heisman. Say you have a boss that always asks you to do a double. You did 3 doubles this week. You're exhausted. Heisman. Maybe there's an opportunist from the past who has seen your glow up and knows you're shining and wants to sneak back into your life and taste that sweet, sweet abundance. Spin move, Heisman. Maybe you got somebody that always likes to shit on your dreams and tell you how it's not going to work out. Or what if this happens? You know what I'm going to say. Heisman. You set the intention. This person is no longer going to take my energy. And you tuck it away and you give them the Heisman. Metaphorically speaking, visualization is key. We are back for part three. Another wardrobe change. We got the Arcana shirt here with all my tarot cards from my major Arcana from my tarot deck on my shirt. Got the Fool on my sleeve for the Fool's Journey. And you guys just saw the Heisman, and it was a that video is a joke. It's like meant to be like humorous, but it's also 100% real. Like you need to protect your energy like a football and give the people the Heisman that don't value you. Like if you're an empath, like we are, and you want to see people do well, and you're a loving person, people will take advantage of that. Like narcissists will 100% latch on to your energy and suck you dry, and and you gotta know your worth. That's part of the healing process, is knowing your worth, coming to that place of self-acceptance. Get rid of all the shame and the guilt and the fear and the doubt in yourself and all the things, the shade that people throw on you. They shit on your dreams, they do this and that. Like all the stuff in the Heisman was 100% truthful in a humorous way. Like protect that energy like a football and give those fuckers the Heisman.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
before we wrap this one up, we want to talk a little bit about Trump's little executive orders. You're a little bit more well versed in what he's been up to. I've tried to just detach from politics as much as possible. Besides I watched a little bit of the hearings of RFK because I'm really interested in him and what he's going to do. But let's talk about Trump.
All good. So, pretty much just gonna bring up here real quick. Just want to briefly go over some of the things that happened just since uh just since January 20th. Now, according to here, it says here as of January 30th, these are the executive orders that were issued. So the rescission of previous executive actions Revocation of 78 executive orders done by President Biden in his previous administration. That was done on day one. That's hilarious. Uh, on day two, immigration policies, birthright citizenship. An executive order was signed to end birthright citizenship for children born in the U.S. to undocumented immigrants. That's interesting because that's actually how I got my citizenship here in this country.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of people have, and these are some of the things I'm a little wary of Trump in a lot of ways because Um, I'm it's well documented in my problems with the left. I've talked about it extensively, but I also look at the this huge shift, right? We've shifted, the pendulum has swung away from the left. Like the left is being rejected and bitch slapped in every single way. And they aren't seeming to learn their lesson to why they got positioned as a villain because they're up on this pedestal preaching to people for the last 8 years and calling Trump a Nazi and this and that. So they've been rejected, but I'm very wary of the pendulum swinging back the other way. And it's very obvious when I watch, I'm with my mom and her husband, and they watch Fox News a lot. And Fox News has just been on their knees for Trump in every way. And that's scary as well. And what I'm worried about is unchecked power and
yeah.
people being so and Jon Stewart had a great monologue on his Daily Show, and I Jon Stewart's another guy that kind of just went too far left for me and was like too apologetic for the left and really towing the company line, but he's come back to sanity. So is Bill Maher, right? And the left hates these, they're starting to hate these guys that are actually taking the task, but they need to start listening to these people, right? Like listen to Jon Stewart. This monologue was great because he was talking about crying wolf, crying fascist wolf, like they're they've been crying wolf and the sky is falling and Trump's a fascist and a Nazi and da 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 for so long that people have tuned that out. Like people don't listen to that anymore. If you're not a full on lefty and you're not in that camp and you're part of the purple people that have swung back to the right, you're not listening to these people anymore. And Jon Stewart was like, this is really important that we stop overreacting to every little thing Trump does and calling fascist when it's not really fascist. Because if he ever does anything that really is fascist, that really is problematic, that
No one's gonna believe
that
you.
no one's going to listen when it actually comes. So it's like they need to come back
Yeah.
to some semblance of reality and sanity with their assessments of Trump, so
Well,
that people
well,
take it serious if he ever does step over the line.
let's go back to this because this is probably why they're going to there, right? So we continue on with day three, social policies involving gender definition, right? This is definitely a topic that makes the left's heads explode. An executive order was issued to enforce binary definition of sex, limiting federal recognition to male and female based on reproductive anatomy. On the fourth day, military policies, transgender service ban. So no transgender serving the military. Day five, energy policies, unleashing energy. American energy executive order was signed to promote fossil fuel production and withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement. Day day five. Did I say day five? No, that was day four. Day five. Uh, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Termination of DEI initiatives. An executive order was issued to terminate diversity, equity, and inclusion programs within the federal government. Day six, immigration enforcement, mass deportations. An executive order was signed to initiate mass deportations of undocumented immigrants. Day seven, foreign policy, reinstatement of travel ban. Executive order issued to reinstate travel ban on several predominantly Muslim countries. On day eight, trade policies, imposition of tariffs. Executive order was signed to impose aggressive tariffs, particularly targeting China. Day nine, federal workforce, reclassification of federal employees. Executive order was issued to reclassify federal employees, potentially leading to a purge of certain personnel. So this is Doge going into effect. January 30th, 10 days later, pardons. The January 6th defendants, President Trump granted. Oh shit. Pardons to individuals involved in the Capitol riots. That's pretty
Yeah,
much the latest.
the media really came after him for the pardons, but it was like Biden just pardoned his whole family. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. No one's talking about that.
there's
Literally, no
pro-
one's talking about that.
there's probably some people that were in the insurrection that the left wants to call it. There are probably some people that should be in jail, like people that attacked cops and this and that. There are probably some people that shouldn't have been pardoned. But
What about the people who covered up for Nancy Pelosi and stole her laptop? They should be free.
what a, what about Biden pardoned his whole family? That is insane. It is
I'm with
literally
you.
insane.
I'm with
He
you.
pardoned Fauci, which tells me they've got dirt on Fauci that will is incriminating. Which I already knew that the dude's a fucking fraud. Um, and the things that were perpetuated on the population during COVID was absolutely criminal and an overreach. And
You know what?
especially in the aftermath of it, when we look back and we see what COVID really was, it was just a really bad flu. And it was so bad because our health is so bad in this country. Like it affected people with comorbidities overwhelmingly, right? People like you and
Yeah.
me, I had COVID twice and it sucked, but it
You know,
wasn't going to kill me. Like it wasn't what they made it out to be. They made it out to
yeah,
be like this movie, like a movie, like the Outbreak
yeah.
movie, right? Where they're fucking chasing down the monkey for the first, to patient zero. They're chasing down the monkey in the forest to try to get his
Well,
antibodies.
you
That's
know,
what they made it out to be.
it's that's the movie Outbreak,
That's what
and
I'm saying. They made it
yeah,
like
and also
they played off of people's fears from those
right,
movies of Hollywood that have been put into our
right,
consciousness. They played off this fear of this world killing virus, and it literally killed like less than 1% of the people that
yeah.
and the people it did kill were already very unhealthy. So it was just you guys lived through it. You don't need to
Here's
rehash it. It was a
here's
fucking
one
mess.
here's one that really interested me was I didn't see Bill Gates' name on any of the pardon list, and I know that they want to go after him, so I'm really curious to see how governments around the world treat that scenario with him specifically, because uh, I know he's been indicted in Holland and I believe one other country, so
He
no
needs to be in
pardon.
jail. He needs to be in jail. Fauci needs to be in jail. And Biden pardoned him in the U.S., but I'm hoping that there's some tribunals around the world that comes for some of these COVID people because what was done to us was absolutely criminal. It's crippled our economy. It's caused inflation, which when all this talk about inflation and the rising prices, and nobody ever talks about the massive printing of money. That's what caused inflation. Was this we printed 40% of every dollar that exists. Can you even
and
think
and
about that? Like
and then we sent most of that overseas after we printed it, by the way.
oh yeah, we sent it off to Ukraine so
Ukraine.
Biden's family could launder it through the Ukraine and the fake war that's going on over there. Well, not fake war, but you get the gist. It's wag the dog, wag the dog. Watch that movie. It there's more truths in that movie than you want to realize. Like the the bottom
Yep.
line, guys, is it goes back to
Yep.
what I was saying in part one. Is like there's the corruption is so deep and so rampant that a lot of people just want to stick their head in the sand and not acknowledge it. But if we want to, and it goes to part two when we're talking about people that are fed up. Like we're coming into this state of consciousness, this shift in consciousness where people are fed up. They're fed up with lies. They know they've been lied to, right? So we need to come to this place where we're willing to do something about it because it's going to keep going. It's going to perpetuate if we don't do something about it. And that doesn't mean riots in the street and burning down the, you know, taking out the patriarchy and burning down buildings and doing George Floyd type riots. Like we don't. That's not the solution. The solution here is it starts with us. It starts within, and we detailed in the last part that what you have to do. And once you come into your power, you find your community, you find your soul tribe, and then you work accordingly because God is telling us what we need to do. Alex and I are on that mission right now. We know what we need to do and we're doing it. We're not procrastinating, we're not putting things off. We've got like a couple of dozen subscribers, right? We get at the most 70 something views per episode, but that doesn't stop us. We're not like, oh man, maybe we should just stop. We're not getting enough viewers. No, we're just going to keep going. We're keep moving forward, and it all is going to happen and get on a massive scale when it's supposed to happen. But this is just part of putting out the energy, is like vibrating at the energy that is required of us and putting it out and
Right.
keep moving forward and keep walking the path.
That's right.
And
A lot of having faith is to keep showing up and not knowing why.
yeah,
Or not necessarily not knowing why, but like knowing that the why doesn't matter because it's because you believe in something that you don't see, you can't touch, but that doesn't matter because you believe in it and you keep showing up. And ultimately, that's how you prove your faith to your higher power that you believe that they're there protecting you, and you will see literally miracles happen in your life. Like very much like that elephant that
yeah,
you told me about.
yeah, my elephant. So I'll tell.
I forgot that we talked about that
Yeah,
before.
we talked about it in the pre-talk before this part, but this little elephant here. My mom makes these cute little things. She's awesome. My mom's awesome. Like my mom makes a lot of really cool stuff, and she likes to downplay it. Oh, it's just my old lady thing. It's like, Mom, you make really cool shit. Like she makes these little dolls, and she crochets stuff. She makes quilts. She makes all kinds of really really good stuff. And maybe that's where the artist in me comes from, but um, so I love elephants. Like I'm obsessed with elephants. I love watching elephant videos on my whole algorithm on Instagram. It just sends me elephant videos. So I have this happy place in my meditations. I have this visualization, this dream of mine. And to me, it represents the dream in my heart, all my manifestations coming in. The elephant is a symbol of it because I have this vision in my meditations of me playing with elephants, just like these videos that I see on my algorithm, on my FYP, and so this is when I need to go to my happy place and in meditation, I will visualize me and an elephant, like a baby elephant, just playing with each other. And so my mom walks in the other day. She just makes stuff, and she made this elephant, and she showed it to me. So, oh, it's just this stupid little elephant. I was like, no, that's awesome. I was like, Mom, do you realize like how much I love elephants? Like I am obsessed with them. Like I was like, you made that for me. I was like, can I have it? She's like, of course. But this is like signs and synchronicities, right? This told me because
Yeah.
I'm working on a lot of really like big stuff behind the scenes. I'm doing a lot of manifestation and taking inspired action on my manifestations. And like I said, the elephant is a symbol for me. It's my spirit animal, right? It's I see the elephant as a gentle, beautiful creature, but it also has tremendous strength. So I identify with the elephant, and so I see it as a symbol of my manifestations realized, right? So I
Yeah.
saw this as a sign from God, like you, dude, you're close. Like,
Right.
so yeah, it's
So
just little.
there's a reason why I brought up the elephant for all of those of you who I said, just uh-oh.
No, you're
Oh,
good.
just sticking through it, it will bring about the miracles just like that, which they had never spoken about elephants or anything like that, but yet there it is, the elephant in physicality, in reality, in his hand. And so that too can happen to you. That's what faith is, right? It just continue to show up, not necessarily knowing when that elephant's going to show up, but it's there. You just have to bring it into your reality, and it happens by by continuing to show up and removing the result out of the equation. In other words, regardless of whatever the result is, just know that you showed up for the right reasons, for the right intentions, and either you had a lesson to learn or someone in that event had something to learn, and it's up to you to find out which one's which.
And manifestation, there's a lot of misinformation or just people that don't really fully explain what this process is, and it takes a long time to bring something in, especially the things that I'm planning and me and Alex are planning are literally world shaking type of stuff. It is a huge manifestation to go from where we're at to where we want to be. So that takes
Hmm.
time. It takes aligned action. It takes detachment. Like you can't just sit there all day twiddling your thumbs and expecting it to just drop in your lap. That's not how manifestation works. and you can write all the affirmations and say your affirmation work and pray and meditate and visualize and do all these things. But if you're just sitting there and not making a line action, then these things aren't going to come. You have to do the work. You
I
have to
want to
do the work.
I want to add to this because it goes in part with what you were saying the very first thing you opened with, that the quote from Manly P. Hall, which I think what he was trying to say was to be as flexible as water, but not to forget that you're part of the ocean, right? Because the ocean is flexible. It goes through rivers, it goes through banks, it goes through rocks, it goes through all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, that water is still a part of the ocean. It's, as much as a single drop is a part of the big whole thing. So if you're be like water, where you're flexible and you're persistent and consistent for your goals and for the things that you want to achieve, and you will those droplets of water will reach the ocean and you will become whole again.
Yeah, I mean, Rumi's got the great quote: "You're not a drop in the ocean; you're the entire ocean in a drop." And there's also that really great Bruce Lee quote about water: "Become like water. If you water, it becomes the cup." Right?
That's
I'm
right.
gonna put that at the end of this episode so you guys can watch it. It's Bruce Lee was such a great, powerful human being, but you have to be flexible and not be attached, right? And not be attached to the outcome, not be attached to striving for this, reaching for this goal and chasing it and chasing it. You're going to push it away. Part of manifestation is magnetization. Like part of what we're talking about, all this energy stuff, all this it's electromagnetism. It's igniting the electromagnetism in your body, in your energy field, in your chakras, right? Aligning your chakras, clearing out your bullshit, healing from your childhood wounds. This is about activating the electromagnetism of your body is an electromagnetic um like circuit of
Yeah,
energy. And chasing is the opposite of attracting.
yeah,
And this is what, part of what Man P. Hall saying is like the journey is the destination. Because if you're constantly chasing, you're not going to attract anything. And you're constantly looking for this end goal that's never going to fulfill you if you aren't fulfilled in the moment. You have to be fulfilled in the moment. You have to be fulfilled with the journey and not be tied into the accomplishment of a goal. The
yeah,
goals are important, right? We want to strive for things, we want to do things, but we don't want to be so tied to them that our happiness is tied to it. The happiness
right,
comes from within. The
right,
happiness comes from the appreciation and gratitude that God puts you on this place and this incredible experience to learn and to grow and to be overcome obstacles and to become a better person. I'm so grateful every day when I wake up. My routine every morning I do not stray from this routine. I go outside, I walk on the grass, I take in the sun, I touch the tree, I go through my mantras, right? My chakra mantras with the tree, and I exchange energy with the tree, and I give thanks that I have another morning. Right, the breathing, taking a breath is a blessing. Like every breath, if you can come to the moment and just sit in the ecstasy of your breath, of taking in breathing. Like this is why meditators, gurus, when they're talking about meditation, it's everything is the breath, because the breath is life. The breath is the spirit, right? And it's you have to tune out these distractions and all this stuff that's taking your mind. And the reason why you can't meditate is because you're stuck in your head. Come to your breath. There's a really powerful meditation technique called the box breathing, right? You breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, and you hold it for 4 seconds. You do that cycle, right? And if you're focusing on the breathing and just the ecstasy of breath, it will tune out all the stupid thoughts. And if you can just focus on the breathing, I guarantee you will break through in meditation and you will come to that place of ecstasy, of understanding that you are a powerful being, and you will come to that place of oneness. It's very, very powerful, and it's life changing. And all those things, those problems melt away, and you realize what an incredible experience that we're in. It's really hard to explain to people who are stuck in the matrix, who are stuck in these low vibrational frequencies of desire. It's just, this is breaking out of the matrix. This is how you get out of the game. This is how you win the game. You have to do these things. You have to meditate. Like meditation is so crucial. is so crucial. It's crucial to have yourself enough self-love to give yourself the time every day to do it. Even if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes of just breathing. Feel the ecstasy of your breath.
Mhm.
It is incredible. And your body is an incredible tool of electromagnetism. And when you activate it, you're capable of anything. You will overcome all your challenges and you will achieve the things that you're here to do because that's your purpose. And I had a friend, somebody I know, took their own life this past week. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
it broke my heart because I know that I could have helped this person if they would have just reached out to me. And this is why I do what I do on my social media. This is why I'm part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast is just to tell people there are people out there like us that can help you. We can help you. And I want to help you. I want to bring you to this place where I'm at. That's my purpose.
But
Now that I
most importantly, and I always try and tell people this, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but the truth of the matter, and like, yes, we can help people, but you have to want to help you first. It starts there. Because if you don't want to do that, there's nothing that B or I can do. And that's
no,
just the
hundred
honest
percent.
truth.
It I mean healing any healer, right? Whether it be Christ putting his hands, like there's a story, right, of Christ where the woman touches his cloak, right? There's a woman in the crowd. I think she was a prostitute or an adulteress or something. She touched his cloak and he felt her take his energy, right? And he talks to her and she said, I knew if I could just touch you that it would uh I don't remember the exact context of what she said, but he said, your faith has made you well, right? Christ didn't
Right.
heal her. Christ didn't heal her. She healed herself with her
Right. It
belief,
was her belief. It was her belief that he could.
her belief, right? And this is any healer that will tell you this too. It has to come from you, the person who wants to be healed. You have to believe in the healing, right? So the healing really comes from yourself. The healer
Yep.
is only there to activate that within you that heals you.
Right.
And
Right.
and this is something I've talked about this. The way I healed my torn ACL was walking on the earth and interacting with the energies of earth. That's what the alchemist does, right? We interact with the elements, right? The fire, earth, air, and water. We interact with the elements, and this is what really broke me through and my spiritual understanding of what I'm capable of doing for myself. I healed myself from a torn ACL by walking on the earth and believing in the power of what I was doing. I can do stuff now physically that I shouldn't be able to do. Like if you guys are following me on Instagram, you saw some of my wrestling videos. Like I do some wild shit, and I'm a 42-year-old man that with a torn ACL, I should not be able to do some of these physical things that I can do. But I do it because of the belief. I do it because I am empowered, and this is why I want to help people because I've come to this place where I understand my own power and I know what I'm here to do. And part of it is shining the light for others and getting them to understand what the power that's within them, shining my light that I found within me so they find the light within themselves. And that's 100% my purpose. And everything that I do isn't for my own glory. It's not for the glory of Brandon. It's for the
Right.
glory of God that I found within me, and to communicate the fact that you can do it too. It's not because I'm so great that I can do all these things and create all this cool shit, and I look like a freaking Greek statue, and can I'm creating, I'm writing poetry and screenplays and making paintings and doing just amazing stuff. Like I came to this moment the other day where I was just like really stepping into understanding what I've been through and understanding what I'm capable of and understanding and appreciating what I've been able to accomplish since I've been on the spiritual journey. And it's overwhelming. Like I look at all the intellectual property that I've created that I'm now trying to facilitate into, the pinnacle path, right? Grounding my pinnacles. But it's like,
Well,
I'm grateful for that, dude. I'm so grateful to God for
well,
for empowering me with my own strength, like letting me know who the fuck I am, because that is all that I'm here to do. Right?
well,
Is
speaking of
it?
grounding pinnacles, I was gonna say, those of you, if you made it this far into the video, congratulations. Fist bump. And hopefully there's a commercial in there about mining for X1 so you can ground those pinnacles. If you haven't gotten involved, if you don't know about that, you should check out, definitely watch that commercial. If you missed out on the Bitcoin mining, if you missed out on the Ethereum mining, if you missed out on any of the crypto mining, and you don't want to miss out on another one, watch that video and then follow the instructions because we got you covered. Okay.
And check out the description, guys. My website's down there. Alex's website's down there. How to contact us, how to get in touch with us, how to follow us on all our social media. Please like, share, and subscribe these podcasts. It's very important the information we're getting out there. If you've made it this far, you understand that. So it's time to spread the word so we can find our soul tribe and we can come together and we're going to change the world. I 100% believe that in my heart, that I'm here to change the world. I'm here to help facilitate this shift in consciousness so that we can bring heaven to earth. That's what the alchemist does. We're bringing heaven to earth because the kingdom is within. And if enough of us realize this and bring it about, it will happen. It is inevitable. It is a law of the universe. And
That's right.
God is awakening us now in this space and time, in the age of Aquarius, the man with the pitcher of water, like Christ prophesied. This is the second coming. It's not coming on a cloud, it's coming from within us, and it's going to happen. And we want you to be a part of it, and we want you to understand that you have the power within you to do this. And that's our purpose. And among a lot of other things, but that's the heart of it. That's the heart of it, is that we're bringing heaven to earth. This is going to be the age of Christ. The 1,000-year reign of Christ is coming, and it's coming from us, from within us. And that's pretty much all we have to say for this one. We're breaking the spells, man. We're breaking the spells.
Right.
You are not oppressed. You are a powerful being made in the image of the Creator. And we're bringing this forth to break the spells of the shadow, to bring this illumination to you. So, like, share, and subscribe, guys. Follow us on all our social media. Check out all the stuff we have to offer down in the descriptions. And we're
Yep.
going to leave you with this Bruce Lee quote about water. Be like water, my friends. And we will break
Yes.
the spells and we will change the world. I love you.
We love you.
Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.